Good morning. Hey, everybody. Got started just a second early here. Trying to get the camera, make sure it's all focused. We have, let me get the monster in here. Power's been out. Big windstorm on Saturday, kind of knocked the power out everywhere in Knoxville. So, yeah, we'll talk about OPEC and oil. You can see WWE and oil already on the list here. Over here, WWE, oil on the list. We'll get to that in just a minute. Morning, everybody. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. I may be full of crap. This presentation, intended to be informational, educational, and fun, is not a recommendation to buy or sell anything, financial instrument, or otherwise. If you desire personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. Remember, we're going to continue this conversation all day in Discord. So if you want to do that, jump into the description. And while you're banging around, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification button so that you get alerts when I go live every single day. Tomorrow we go live twice on Tuesdays, and I try to do every morning. And Friday, I got a special crypto morning monster coming your way. So that's the outlook for the week. And let's go ahead and pull over some charts and news that I pulled up here. So Wall Street Journal, a reputable news source for all sorts of Wall Street news, right? WWE to combine with UFC parent Endeavor. So the owner of UFC is Endeavor. Looking on down through here, they're valuing Endeavor at about $12.1 billion and WWE's enterprise at about $9.3 billion. So they'll make that, what, 20, 21, $22 billion entertainment powerhouse in fighting. So if you want to call wrestling fighting, I think it's scripted fighting, I guess, is what it's always been presented as to me. Some people call it real. Some people call it a big show. I don't know. It's not my sports of any type. Sports ball or otherwise is not my big thing. But, you know, hey, a lot of money right there. $21 billion. So it says each company contribute cash to the new venture. So it holds about $150 million in cash. And, yeah. So, interesting. You know, Vince McMahon came back to the company to sell it, and it looks like they've got some sort of deal in the works. So we'll see what happens there. All right. Other big news. Oil soars. Futures flat after shock. OPEC output cut. So OPEC kind of voted to cut production. It says here 1.66 million barrels a day. I saw 1 million yesterday. Saudi Arabia committed to 500,000 barrel cut for the rest of 2023. Of course, you know, the way this always works in the history, you know, everybody in OPEC Plus kind of commits to the cut, and then you make your money by selling oil. So you kind of fudge the numbers a little bit and produce a little more so you can get a little bigger piece of the pie, and it ends up not being as big a cut as maybe it should have been. But we'll see what happens. Oil popping on this news, and that may have been the bottom. I was looking for that dip down in the mid-60s. We kind of got it, and then we're working our way up. And I've been saying that a lot of the oil charts and the oil producers, Chevron, VLO, XOM, PXD, a lot of those have been coming up on the charts, the chart scans I do. You see a big list here. You know, Chevron, Exxon, ConocoPhillips, Marathon, Schlumberg. They don't even have Valero listed on there. Halliburton, I don't know, maybe. Let's go ahead and silence that. And let's see. So we'll go through actual charts here in a minute. This is just, you know, news on the whole deal, blah, blah, blah. Some other things happening around the world. We got European news, FX news, Forex news, fixed income news, commodities, you know, all sorts of commodities, geopolitics. So if you think you've identified all the news moving today, I mean, look at all this stuff. This has all come out since Friday. Whole bunch of stuff. So U.S. events to watch today. March manufacturing, 945. Feb construction spending, month over month. March ISM. And, of course, we've got jobs on Friday, later in the week. So this is just the stuff today. So, crazy. Now, being the devil's advocate here. A huge block of Gulf of Mexico was auctioned off for oil drilling last week. 73.3 million acres of Gulf of Mexico is set to be leased for oil drilling. It raises something like $300 million for the United States to kick out those leases, plus whatever maintenance and whatever goes on. So, interesting. Hair on fire environmentalists who thought Biden was not going to do this kind of thing. Well, you know what? He did. He just chunked up that 73 million acres right there, offered up for lease. This area down here, not yet set up for lease on oil drilling. So we'll see what happens there. That oil comes online. I mean, it's going to take years. It's not like we lease it today, we produce it tomorrow type of situation. You got to have platforms and drilling and support and blah 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 blah. Anyway, so that will come online eventually. We'll see what happens. Short term, price of oil could pop. Longer term, we've got to have that oil, and I think Biden's administration realized that we cannot just survive without keeping oil flowing. The green agenda is cracking at the seams a little bit. So, yeah, morning, Jason, Valerie, Patrick, Alan, Al, Lee, Pat. Kimberly's not with us today. She's with her parents, going to get her dad's MRI update. So, anyway. Yeah, we can look at rig chart. I can throw that up there. So, and if I don't remember, just remind me, Jason. Big news, S&P, look at this. Everybody thought I was full of crap. We're going to break down, go lower low. Look at this baby go. Higher than here. This is the first sign. This is the aggressive entry long here. More conservative when we break above this high right here we made in February. January, February. We get above that, we're probably going to 4,300 at the minimum. And these targets up here around 45, 44-ish. That would be an ideal kind of place to go. Of course, that is the 76, so we have to be careful and watch for this area to hold right down here, a 382 retrace before we pop up here. That would be a new high, 48.83. And this is not a timeline. I don't have these timed out, but then we'd probably get another retrace back down into this area right here around 45, and then probably go up for the ultimate high, which, I don't know, 5,000 to 6,000, maybe even as high as 6,500 on that last blow off top. It's going to be a lot of excitement if we do that. Probably at this point out into 2024. Could carry a little longer. Could sync up with the Bitcoin halving event, and we see a nice big blow off into 2025 even. So this little run could take a little while to come to head. We'll see what happens here. We can turn down at 4,300 and go lower, so that is still possible. Something we got to watch. Interest charts ticking back up a little bit. If we jump, this was a weekly. If we jump down on the daily here, you see a little bit of volatility on these interest rates. The market can't figure out what it wants. It may push lower on these interest rates, which would cause pressure on the Fed. The Fed's target rate up here, and the actual market rate down here, about 4%. So almost a whole point of divergence between the Fed's target rate on the upper end and the current market rate. We'll see what happens here. This is not the kind of environment that's friendly for not having banking crises and stuff like that, financial crises. Now, we may kind of chug sideways. That was what I kind of threw up as a theory back in January. We could go sideways, just kind of these two crisscross back and forth a little bit, and then we go into another acceleration higher. So that's kind of a working theory that I have thrown out there. We'll see what happens. And we could go up into that ultimate crisis out in 2026. You know, crypto is likely to pull back in 2026. Another crypto winter, another financial crisis, bad downturn in the market. We'll see what happens. So, all right. Moving on out here. Oh, not the chart I wanted to click on. There we go. Well, let's go over to this one first. Look, S&P 500 coming up right on Friday, right to the top of the red zone. Pull this over just a smidge. Right to the top of the red zone. Could not break out, though. We could get a little resistance, a little pullback before we can pop on out. 4,300 is my expected target, though, when we break out. I need to get above this and run. So that's what I see in store for the future here on S&P. Right up to that prior high and stopped on Friday. That's where the red box comes from. This prior high back here in December. And that little poke above. And we came right up to it on Friday. Continuation above this high right here. About 4180-ish. Get continuation up to about 4,300. Then where does 4,300 come from? This high right back here. 43, getting more specific, 20-ish. Yeah. We'll probably find some resistance there. It's just probably going to happen. So be prepared. We may see a pullback. Comes back to the roadmap line or something on the daily. Could come all the way back down to this 4,000 area. Hold that support again and then try again. So, all right. Moving on. S5FI right back up in the middle. Beautiful. Probably get a rally right back up to the top. Back up around this 80 area. Just chopping, hanging out in the, we may get it, may come up here. S&P may hit 4,300. Then we may roll it back down here and consolidate again. We hanging out in the middle, most ideal, but this chart does not have a history of just sitting idle in the middle. We get a little chop sometimes, and then this thing's always moving, always oscillating. Sometimes we get this extended period at the top, but not all the time. Over here in 2020, we did get this pop, we got this chop, then we went to the bottom, then we went to the top, then we went back down near the bottom, then we came up and parked. That may be what we see right now. We may see this, this may be what we're doing right now, then this, and then we could get the extension. So right now we're coming off of one of the most bearish periods ever in the market as far as how people are positioned. So just be prepared. We could see some volatility before we get the nice big run. Still looking for the futures to come up and test this area right here where we made the highs in February. NQ, working on that breakout. Probably going to push up to this up to 13,800 area where we topped back in August. It's already above the highs from January, February, and working on the extension up into that area. We could see, next zone above that, probably 15,000 for NQ to find resistance. So right now, probably going to take a little effort and energy, maybe some pullbacks to get up here. We're in a new quarter. New money flowing. And Russell, small caps, still held down so far by this resistance that's come across here. This is kind of a flip point on the chart. If we can see that break back above that, this was the lower low, then we saw right back here. This can lead to a power move higher at this point. This is basically like a sloppy 5 up, a deep retrace. This could be a measured bounce type setup right here. Breaking it back above that can set us up for a bigger move higher. And right now, that looks more like, I have to update these projections here. Looks more like a move up to this 2,300 area on Russell. So that'd be like probably 227 on IWM. Be a big move up from the current prices around 180, 179. DXY continues to struggle with this support resistance zone right here. We break down back below probably like 101.50. we're probably going to be out of the path down. WWE getting a little disappointment on the news. Wasn't as exciting as they thought it was going to be. So getting a little pullback. That is a lower high. So probably going to come down here to the roadmap line if the prices don't get firmed up, or if the deal somebody doesn't like the deal, we could see a sudden pullback. So oil potentially working on its breakout, and we're market just opening, hitting the roadmap line. Yeah, TEK. Go look at that in a minute. Came up, hit the daily roadmap line. May not be able to get through on the first attempt. This may retrace back down here, back down to 75 before we can break through. Almost got to that perfect target right down there. Hit right at 65, where I was saying for, gosh darn, over a year, right? I started saying that like back in April last year, after we came off these highs. I was looking for lower. We rallied up and then continued lower, right down into the 65 area. That was my ideal area. So now looking for something to potentially break out here, but finding resistance at the daily roadmap. A pullback is healthy. If we can do like a 618 pullback, that would be beautiful. What would that look like? Well, just going to draw it on here. That would set it up a measured bounce. I would get super excited and super bullish on oil if we came back into the $70 area right here. 71, 72. We came back into that area. Let's go ahead and remove some of this old crap off here. Stuff that doesn't mean anything anymore. All right. Oil right there, right there. So if we get a pullback to this zone right here, right now, and we hold that right there, and then turn back up, somewhere right in here, that's like load the boat. Holy cow, we can go higher. What kind of target on that? Let's just sloppy targets right now. Look for 98 on oil. Like that could be a power move from 75 to 98 right there. So if we do that, UCO is gonna be my, type the fingers go the right way. UCO is gonna be my preferred probably instrument of taking advantage of this. So we'll see how this shapes up. We'll keep an eye on it. All right. Yeah. Go ahead and hit your rig. So far, just kind of popping. Not breaking out yet. Didn't quite hit the roadmap line. That was a high. That was the highest high, lowest low right there. If we run the fib lines, coming right up into the 618, 786 area. Caution. Could get an extension out to 8 or 9. And then the bigger play that was out here. Yeah, we stopped at the 618 there. So that bigger play is already kind of played out. Yeah, so 839 on the upside there. If we can get continuation, it could come back down to 5. All right. Tesla potentially breaking above the roadmap line here. Little pullback on Friday. I did go long TSLL. Looking for this play to play out. And you might say, JT, this looks crazy right here. Yeah, it is crazy right here. I'm not even playing right now. Like this is a giant head and shoulders pattern. We break above the neckline up here around 15. This thing is kind of set on a path to go up to this 43 area. That could be a huge move on Tesla. And with this 1.5x leverage, huge move right there. That's almost 3 times your money just on shares. So be careful. You know, this hadn't done it yet. So I did go a preemptive long, not a very long term one. waiting, looking for this to come up here, and then we'll see what the reaction is. I do think it's going to probably come up and test that orange zone where we consolidated back here in October. We'll see. Next up, mover SoFi coming up. Yeah, getting back up here. We need to see it break above this area right here, this consolidation, to get continuation higher. That was kind of a three-wave retrace. A little deeper than I like to see. Usually I like to see it hold the roadmap line. Didn't do that. It's got to get above that zone right there. Right in there at the minimum. And that could lead up to $9 and $10 on SoFi. AI getting a nice pop. Find this resistance at the 1272 this morning. Be careful. That can get a deeper retrace right here on AI. Possibly extend out to 37, but somewhere in there it's going to get a retrace. Probably going to come back to this zone right here where it broke out from. And maybe possibly could hold a little higher, 28. Probably going to retrace. OXY, oil popping, still below these highs. It's not an all clear on oil yet. I repeat, not an all clear on oil yet. We can see a retrace. So these things still have resistance above us. Bud getting some extensions. Yeah, it's probably going to retrace at some point here. That's a crazy move up. Probably going to get a little retrace back in the mid 60s or lower 60s, and then work on the next extension. GFAI. Let's see, information technology, AI, whatever. Yeah, that's a downtrend. Be careful. Nothing awesome there. That probably reverse split. Yep, 1440 reverse split. Be careful. Crisp. This looks like a bearish chart. AMVS already retraced it. Pop on earnings and retraced. LMT. That's a squeeze. Like, that's that watermelon seed squeeze thing I always talk about. Just on a small time frame here. She's gonna pop. She's gonna pop up. She's gonna pop down. That's a good question. Looks like up. My bias would be, bias. My target is up here around 510, 512. To move it over. It's just been going a little sideways. So looking for that thing to finally pop out. Sudden alert like 480. We start breaking through that. Probably on a path to 510, 515. NRGU, nice little pop. 3x oil leveraged right here. Microsector, US big oil. Sit in the roadmap line still. And that's right at that prior high. Not confirming a breakout yet. Be careful. Now, this is the first indication of a breakout. Was last week. Now, these leverage ones don't always work with my chart stuff. Sometimes they exaggerate the moves. That's why I usually go to the underlying, like the actual oil chart, CL. HSKA, getting a nice little pop up on whatever news. Mars, interesting. Mars to buy veterinary diagnostics, whatever. UNH getting a little pop. Still at the top of the consolidation here. Be careful. Still below the roadmap line. This thing came right down to the target area. So this can be the reversal that we're looking for. Needs to get above the roadmap line. Target probably somewhere up in this zone if we can get bullish. That'd be a huge move from 45 to 780. And potentially even 620 up here. Gush, another 2x bull coming up, still below the roadmap line. PXD, working on the reversal, still below the roadmap line. Like I said, a lot of this stuff still doesn't have the all clear. Another biotech, pharmaceutical, getting a little pop, probably on something drug-wise. Yeah, nothing showing up there. Fang, nice little pop. Diamondback Energy still needs to break above these highs. We got the downtrend coming up. Find a resistance. All right, wait for it to prove it. If you wait for it to prove it, it's gonna pay you out handsomely. All right. Oop. Yeah, we can delete that one off. Delete that one off. So Chevron, we need to get above this consolidation right here, 180. It would set the target up to this 198 to 200 area right up here. HES, same situation. That one looking a little more bullish, but we do have resistance right there where I drew that line. Could take us up to 167, 177 on HES. XOP, stuck at the roadmap line. It's got these high, this high, and this high. Extension on that one could take us up to 187 up there. This one's been consolidating for quite some time. Quite some time. I was giving the pattern once over here. See if I could see anything. Nothing jumping out at me right at the moment. Still stuck to the roadmap line. Be careful. PPG, that one potentially breaking out here. Look at all these highs. If it can maintain that and not just drop back, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're above for the first time in over a year. That's actually bullish on PPG right there. If it can maintain that and start pushing higher, probably going to run higher here, possibly back to these highs right up here. Very nice looking. EOG, right up to the roadmap line. You see this over and over on oil and gas. This one looking a little stronger, getting a pullback though. Wasn't able to break these highs. Look right there, resistance. 1, 2, 3. It's not a trick. Like this is same sort of stuff all the time. Got to get above those highs. If we can get a close, a move, close, daily close above those highs, game on. 158, 168 on VLO. Set your alert right up here. 143, 144. MPC. That one's working on a breakout. Couldn't get the retrace all the way. 142, 149 would be the upside on MPC. COP, that one got a big deep retrace, big deep move. Let's see, big deep retrace off of that high. Got some work to do before COP shows its potential to go to 150, 160. And then XOM, that one potentially showing strength right there, 125, 132. So out of those, XOM looking the strongest right now, and that could be an aggressive entry. I would definitely be careful and protect, keep a tight stop on that one. Not necessarily give it room all the way back down here and in the 90s right now. I'd probably put my stop down here just below the prior high, or just below the prior action, right, maybe right at that gap, right at 107. If I was going to chase that right now, and if we can get pop above this prior high, I'd definitely lock in profits quickly. Definitely. So VLO, XOM looking the strongest potential-wise right now out of the energy stuff I looked up this morning. All right, bias for the day, still expecting higher, but we might get a little consolidation because we're at the beginning of the new quarter. But if we can get going at all, probably going to come up here and test this 4180 area on ES, which looks like about the same on S&P, 4175, 4180, right up there. So up to the top of the box. All right. Yeah, could be. Rig could be a winner. It's, build your position. That's the whole thing, Jason. Yeah. All right, everybody. Any final questions, remarks, questions, difficulties, anything? Like I said, we'll continue this conversation in Discord. If you see anything, you want to know more about anything I talked about here, just give me a shout in Discord, tag me, whatever, and I'll be with you all day, giving updates along the way. All right? For those of you not, I'll see you again tomorrow morning on the Morning Monster. And remember, 5 p.m. tomorrow, I take your requests for at least 30 minutes, for 30 minutes of awesome live web show. And Hope you have a great day out there. Be careful. The account you save may be your own.